Frenchie Megan, and this is Sensei Ryder, and today we're covering roundhouse kicks. Roundhouse kicks, yay! So, these are mawashi geri, mawashi around, roundhouse kicks. So, we're gonna cover foot to foot, lead, rear, jumping, retreating, 360, and then we're gonna be doing the follow through roundhouse kick, so a power roundhouse kick, and just a straight up technical roundhouse kick. Then we'll show you how to work on it for things like sparring, by demonstrating double kicks, different sections of the body. But for all roundhouse kicks, unless it's a cut leg, which we're not covering in this video, all the kicks are belt and up. So that's Shudan height and Jodan height. So make sure you've warmed up, you've shaken everything out, your hips feel good, because I have quite tight hips, and with roundhouse kicks, sometimes it takes the first couple before I start to get a bit higher with my chambers and where I'm technically landing. So we're gonna get Sensei Ryder to demonstrate the first couple kicks. He'll do them in the air, and then we'll turn and we'll show you guys what it's like to demonstrate them on the pedal, make that good smack, where his foot is hitting the target, and we'll move forward. So it's gonna be pretty fun little roundhouse kick tutorial. So start off with, just to warm up, actually, why don't we grab the chair, Sensei Ryder, and we'll show everyone how their chambers need to be, where their supporting leg, how their foot needs to be turned. So I'll go a little bit closer to the camera where you guys can see my feet a little bit more. I know Sensei Ryder is about there. So if we are facing our opponent or we're facing a target and we're nice and square, as if we're ready to, throw a middle punch or a high punch, or we're blocking straight in front, our hips are square. When you do a roundhouse kick, your hips need to shuffle and completely turn sideways, but also our supporting leg, that big toe needs to pivot. You can't throw a roundhouse kick like that without pivoting your supporting leg. So what we need to be able to do is, as you're kicking, you need to be able to pivot, right? As you pull up your chamber, or you need to actually turn that foot till you get used to the pivot and the chamber as you're practicing and increasing your strength and stability. So you're turning, your foot should be completely going in the direction that you want to land the kick. Chamber comes up, knee goes that direction, then you extend and you come back down. You can re-square up after that, or if it's a foot to foot, you can stay sideways, right? But that supporting leg and the foot that's on the ground always, 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 always needs to pivot, as well as your knees, as well as your core, as well as your hips. Okay, so let's just go over chamber. So what everyone needs to remember is that if you swing your leg, you're not gonna have any power, and it's gonna be kind of a sucky kick. And you wanna make sure that when you kick, it is as balanced, as strong, has a really nice snap. Like roundhouses, they either follow through and create tons of damage, or they snap really fast, very accurately. And by returning back into that chamber and having balance and accuracy, you can throw as many kicks as you need to. So we're gonna start off just by working on our chamber and making sure that our supporting leg is nice and stable, balanced and bent, and that we're pivoting the way that we need to throw the kick. Sensei Ryder is in his fight suit, so because his pants are a little more stretchier than my traditional uniform, my gi, he can chamber much higher than I can, but as long as it's hip and higher, totally acceptable mawashi geri, totally acceptable roundhouse kick. So your guard is gonna be up. All we're gonna do is lift our chamber, hold it for a second, and put it back down. If you want to grab a chair or grab a piece of wall, by all means, go ahead and do that for extra stability until you get used to how high your chamber needs to be and how much you need to balance. But head is going forward, because that's where your kick is going, right? You wanna make sure that all your body weight is underneath you, not leaning back, not leaning forward, but underneath you, weight underneath, guard up. So we're gonna lift that chamber, hold, put it back down. Our supporting feet are already pivoted. So we're gonna bring it up for, I'm gonna count to 5, Sensei Ryder, but we'll do chamber and back down. So itch, and back down, knee, back down, stand, back down, chi, and down, go, and back down. Okay, so Sensei Rider is going to go foot to foot roundhouses first. So he's gonna demonstrate with his right leg to start off with. So I'm gonna do a count of 5 for Sensei Rider. He's going to slide his feet together. He's gonna chamber up, kick, rechamber, and back down. So we're sticking with those 4 basic kicking points, which is chamber, extension, rechamber, and back to your stance with balance. His guard is up, his eyes are focused the direction that he's kicking. He's nice and balanced. So itch, knee, san, chi, and go. Okay, really nice. And Sensei Rider was hitting Jodan height. Maybe you can demonstrate proper Chudan height with his opposite leg. So he's gonna go left leg now, and proper technical Mawashi Geri, foot to foot, itch, knee, nice extension, san, chi, go. Nice, all right, so that's the first one is foot to foot. The second one we're gonna cover is rear leg, which means you have to start from your sparring position. You need to rotate and go forward as your back leg does the kick. So you need to move forward. What I'm gonna get Sensei Rider to do is pivot, throw the kick, land in front, then step back into his stance afterwards. So he's gonna go 5 with one leg, 5 with the other leg, but he's always gonna make sure he lands forward, then back in his stance. He's gonna be balanced. He's gonna cover those 4 points, okay? And with the right leg, let's go Jodan height. So head height with the right, and then we'll go back to Chudan height with the left. So itch, knee, san, chi, and go. Each time Sensei Rider pivots, his supporting leg, his foot goes to the side, his knees do as well, and his whole body turns sideways. Nice, okay, we're gonna go left leg, just Chudan height, itch, knee, san, chi, and go. Nice, and I always remember that it's Mawashi Geri because I feel like the kick always goes whoosh when it comes around. So the Mawashi Geri always reminds me that it's the whoosh roundhouse kick. I know, it's pretty fancy, pretty fun. As long as you remember it, it's very, very important. You're gonna figure out cool thoughts in your head to make sense of all the Japanese terminology and how you remember all the techniques properly, but that's mine. Whoosh, Mawashi Geri. Okay, we're gonna go jumping roundhouse. So Tobi Mawashi Geri. That means that your back leg, that chamber comes up. It doesn't come up to the side like this. It comes directly in front, almost like a fake, almost like you want to throw a Maigeri, but the person moves back, target moves to the side, you have to cover distance, and that's why you are switching legs, moving forward, and throwing that roundhouse kick. So, Tobi Mawashi Geri. The first chamber is your back leg. When you're doing the majority of jump kicks, unless it's a retreating jump kick, which we will cover, but if it's a basic jump kick, jumping front snap kick, jumping front thrust kick, jumping roundhouse, right? Jumping flying side kick, you are always going forward, and the kicking leg, the leg that hits the target is your front leg. So if you're trying to do a Tobi Mawashi Geri and you're lifting up your front leg to try to chamber and then try to kick, that's not the proper use of this technique. This technique is, if you're sparring, right, and you are meant to throw that Maigeri, you're like, oh no, the person moved, they turn to the side, boom, right? You're still scoring, you're still touching that target, and it's the proper application. So we're gonna go Tobi Mawashi Geri, jumping roundhouse. Sensei Rider is always gonna land forward, okay? It is a chasing kick. Make sure you focus on his chamber. His body doesn't turn until his legs switch. So as he's switching from his chamber on his rear leg to his lead leg, that's when the turning sideways occurs on the kick. So what I would like Sensei Rider to do is do the kick, land, shuffle back into position. We're gonna utilize our space as best we can. So right leg first, itch. Nice. Knee. And stand. Nice, okay. We're gonna change directions. He's gonna go left leg. I want everyone practicing on both sides. You're gonna have one leg that's the rock star and the other leg that's the work in progress. Eventually, I want them both to play in the band and be the star of the show, okay? But for now, you're gonna need work on one leg or another, so you might wanna double up the practicing on your weaker and less balanced leg. So Sensei Rider is gonna go left, ready, itch. Nice, knee, and stand. Awesome, I love his kicks, they're so nice. And Sensei Rider can do the splits. He's been training for so long that he can get his chambers up, he can hold them, he can double kick. It's absolutely gorgeous. So now Sensei Rider is gonna kick the paddle. So I want you guys to notice what part of the foot strikes the paddle. You are not flexing your toes, okay? You are pointing your toes for a roundhouse kick. The only time that you would actually pull back those toes on your roundhouse kick is on very, very particular board breaks where you're performing the exact same technique, but you don't want to hurt your toes or the top of your foot, and it needs to be performed with your toes pulled back. But for application and proper technical within our curriculum, you are pointing your toes. I'm going to go nice and close. Your toes are pointed, right? Toes are pointed, they are not flexed. Pointed, not flexed. Pointed, not flexed. So you're hitting with the top of your foot, pulling your toes away, extending. I just kicked the camera, that was pretty sweet. So, you guys didn't get hurt, I know you're fine. So, we're going to kick the paddle with a roundhouse. Let's just do rear leg roundhouse. You can see how much Sensei Rider needs to pivot. Yeah, about there is good. We're not gonna hold it too high, about my nose height. If it's point sparring in the WKU, WKC, WKA, that's a 2-point kick. A kick to the head is 2 points. Jumping kick to the head is 3 points. So if you're interested in sparring or competing, working on your flexibility, working on those head kicks, super important. So I want you to see that he is kicking this paddle with the top of his foot. His extension is really awesome. He's pivoting with his supporting leg. His knee is coming around to the side, right? And it's not following through. It's a technical. So we'll show you a couple technical kicks, then we'll show you the power kicks with the proper follow through. So, itch, knee, stand. So those are proper technical kicks with the top of his foot, his instep, hitting the target, like this is my face, right? So, Sensei Rider is now gonna do the power kick. So power kicks are where we do combinations like power roundhouse spinning hook, or say if you're kicking an opponent and it's full contact, you wanna be able to turn your body into it as much as possible. It is full contact. So if it hits the person, it's gonna create that damage. If that person backs up, that power kick can also set you up for an opposite leg follow-up kick, like a turning back kick or a spinning hook kick. So I want everyone to get used to doing both, being proficient at both. You have lots and lots of options as you move forward in your martial arts journey. So here's a power roundhouse, so power mawashi geri, and you're gonna watch Sensei Rider follow through and land back in a sparring position. It's going to be head height again, so he's gonna create a lot of damage here. Yay! Look at your beautiful smile as you like smash this target. Itch. Nice. Knee. And stand. That was really good. He hit way harder than me. And he didn't get too dizzy, which is pretty awesome. So the one last kick that we're gonna cover on the mawashi geri is jumping spinning. So jumping spinning is pretty fancy. I have to admit, I think I've thrown it like maybe 3 times in 30 years in competition because I'm not that cool at throwing it. And I also need to stick to the basics when it comes to sparring. But Sensei Rider is really, really talented at 360 roundhouses. So he's gonna show technical, and then he's gonna show power kick. So with the 360, and we're also gonna cover this kick on the advanced kick video as well. I have a couple little tricks that I do with my 360 roundhouse because it is pretty fancy. It is to cover distance, it is to get momentum and speed. It's also very, very fancy. It's not that applicable in most sparring matches. Like, Sensei Ryder, how many times have you thrown in a match?
I don't know that I have.
Yeah, and Sensei Ryder is a 2-time world champion, so he's never thrown a 360, but maybe that's our new goal. Before I'm 80 years old, in competition, Sensei Ryder and I need to throw 360 roundhouses. So.
And score.
And score, yeah. We're not gonna do it in the air because that would be not as cool. Okay, so I'm gonna show you my cool tricks for it, and then we'll get Sensei Ryder to put it all together. So on 360, I have to really pay attention to where my weight distribution is and where my balancing is. So if you look at me from the side, because I'm actually gonna demonstrate the turn and the breakdown on my right leg. So when I'm doing a 360 roundhouse kick, I am kicking with my lead leg. So Toby Mawashigiri, jumping roundhouse. A 360 is a spinning jumping roundhouse. So you want to spin on your lead leg, and this is the one that's going to kick. Your lead leg kicks, and it also is the one that spins behind you. So you want to make sure that your weight, almost like an X stance, right, is on your front leg. You want to pull up your heel. You want to spin on the ball of your foot. Sensei Ryder will show how to put all these tiny details all together, but in order for me to learn, it took me a long time. I had to break it down into a lot of steps. So what I do is I make sure that my chin is down, my forehead is forward, my weight is on my front leg, but my weight distribution is still straight down, not leaning. So I'm still straight down, nice and centered, but my weight distribution is on my front leg. First thing I do is I pivot behind me. So I'm going to spin quickly and look over my left shoulder, and while I do that, I turn both of my feet behind me at the same time. So as I look, it goes eyes, feet. So eyes, feet, and I turn. So again, I want to kick with my right leg. A lot of weights on my right leg, even though I'm centered. I'm gonna turn my left hip, my toes, and as much as I can of my full leg all the way behind me right away. Okay, so now that we're in this position, now we've spun, that's where in the technique you chamber. If you're kicking with the right, you chamber with the left. That helps you spin the rest of the way around, the whole 360. So as I spun backwards, I'm gonna look still over my left shoulder, and I'm gonna turn. So my left hip turns, my left rear shoulder turns, and I lift my chamber. So that I am ready to do a jumping roundhouse kick. So, step one, weight on the lead leg, bending your knees, weight distribution underneath you. Guard is up always, chin is down. I'm going to look, I'm going to continue to turn my upper body, and I'm gonna spin around, and that's when you would jump and switch, and throw that roundhouse kick, and come back down. So that is the breakdown of the 360. Step one, guard up, weight on your front leg. Step two, look over your back shoulder, turn your body 180. Step three, look over your rear shoulder, chamber, spin around. Step four, switch, kick, and come back down. So that's the breakdown of the 360 roundhouse kick. Your body goes wherever your head does. Your head must go first. Your eyes must go first. Or the rest of your body is super confused and doesn't know what to do with themselves, right? Your body's like, your head's here and I'm trying to go here and nothing's working and I can't spin and I'm off balance. So eyes always first, head always first. One, right? You can see me already turning. 2, 3, okay? So that's how you rock out the 360. You break it down between a 180 turn into the second 180 turn, 180 plus 180, 360. Okay, keep your chamber up and then do the Toby Mawashigiri. Then do the jumping roundhouse. So half a spin, full spin into jumping roundhouse. If you drop your chamber for the first little while, it's like no big deal. Okay, if you stumble through it, if you lose your balance, if it takes you a couple times to spin around, don't worry about it. Keep practicing. Try to go faster and faster. Try to make sure that as you turn, your chamber is nice and close to your body, not out here. Here, in close, properly chambered as if you're ready to throw a front kick, right? And if you emphasize the ball of your foot, you can spin so much easier. Trying to spin with your whole foot on the ground is really, really hard to do. So ball of your foot, look at it, spins super easily, right? And pull your toes up. Even though we're flexing for the kick, you're pulling your toes up for the spin. That way it doesn't catch on the floor or the mats or wherever you're practicing, okay? So I'm gonna let Sensei Ryder do the 360 roundhouse. Do you wanna show it in the air? He's gonna show it in the air, and then we're gonna kick the paddle. He's gonna show the regular technical one, and then a follow through, okay? So, ready, itch. Nice. Knee. Nice, and one more. Stand. Now, Sensei Ryder, in the air, would you be able to do a couple follow throughs? Okay, so this one has a lot more power momentum behind it, and it's meant to hit right through a target or hit it more full contact. So if you're hitting a heavy bag, like by all means do the follow through power one. Hit it as hard as you can. So, itch. Nice. It's like a tornado kick, it's awesome. Knee. Nice. One more, so Sensei Ryder doesn't get too dizzy. Stand. So good, okay. So we're gonna show the technical one on the paddle. He's still hitting with the same part of his foot. He's still pointing his toe. Okay, so 360 roundhouse. So spinning Toby Mawashi Gary. So, itch. Nice. Knee. Nice. Stand. Nice. Sensei Ryder is so used to sparring. It's so great. I love how he goes back into a sparring position because I know he wants to kick again. Sensei Ryder is the king of double kicking. So we'll do a couple power kicks, and then I'm actually going to show you some really cool double kicks. So let's do a power one. Let's kick right through that target. Itch. And he follows through. Knee. It looks so fancy. It almost looks like a movie kick. I want to do one more. Stand. So nice. Okay. So Sensei Ryder is, when it comes to roundhouse kicks, he's really good at double kicks. Sensei Ryder is a phenomenal point fighter and continuous kickboxer, and he's like amazing at low kick full contact as well. So when it comes to double kicks, especially with a lead leg, he's practiced for like most of your life, like 15, 16 years on those double kicks. So what Sensei Ryder is gonna do is he's gonna do a double kick. He's gonna go middle section, rechamber, high section. Okay? So this is another drill for everyone to work on at home, especially getting used to more sparring drills and more sparring combinations, right? Double kicks are very important, and it makes you practice returning back to your chamber each time and the importance of that. Double kicks also have helped me a lot with working on my balance on my supporting leg. So from doing a lot of lead leg kicks and double kicks, when I've transitioned into when I've transitioned into other martial arts, it's helped me with my leg getting grabbed and not losing my balance. It helped me when I got swept. It's helped to throw those double kicks, and it's helped to make sure that when I went back into my stance, I always had balance. So those chambers always remind you to not fall forward or fall backwards. Because if you're double kicking, you need to make sure that you're still like totally centered into the ground. So that after you double kick, you land back into stance. You can throw a reverse punch, you can throw a jab cross, you can throw a rear leg kick, you can move backwards, forwards, sideways, you can pivot, right? So double kicks are such a nice way of working into different transitions, different techniques, and even different styles of martial arts. So we'll try again. If you need to grab a piece of wall or a chair for the double kicks, by all means do so, just to get used to that leg strength. And work on it on both sides. Remember, you want both legs to be part of the rock band. You want both of them to be the lead singer, not just one. So, body, rechamber, head. Good, and then back down, body, rechamber, head. Yeah, and then body, head. Good, really nice. We'll cover more double kicks in further tutorials, especially further sparring tutorials. where we go over the best ways to score, how to cover distancing, how to learn how to shuffle kick, how to work different scoring areas, how to bring down guard, things of that nature. Really, 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 really fun combos and drills. But these ones today are going to improve your mawashi geri, your roundhouse kick skills, and it gives you a place to start, and then it helps you to build up into those higher degree goals. Okay? So, thanks for watching our tutorial, and we'll see you guys soon.